Hi guys, I don't know where you are, who you are, where you're from. I don't care what you do. You know the words. So I started doing these journaling evenings again, like on a regular basis every Thursday. And since it's in Latvian language, it's I don't even publish it. But anyways, I decided I want to do it for myself, not for others. How egoistic it sounds, but it's like just for myself to have this like every one time in a week, in 2 weeks, like spiritual practice. That's it. So just say it for myself. So in this channeling session, we agreed to do channeling questions about mediums, or people call them people with a spiritual connection. Now the beings, Enrico's or whatever, doesn't matter, interpret them as they put it in classifications. So a medium, what do you refer, could be a human being that has some of these qualities. First is so the first quality is he could be born through a specific energy channel. In my visual appearance, it seemed like souls, before they come here to this earth, they can have like an energy background or an enhancement. So then if they do this, they can go through a, and they still have a quality of this energy from this channel from which they came. So it means that they can have this interdimensional connection, and an interdimensional connection also means that they are spiritually awakened. And there was a difference between spiritual awakening and a being that can read energies. That's two different scenarios. So a being that has an interdimensional connection knows the self. Whether he was born questioning who am I, why am I here, or he has visions, memories, and understanding who he is and what is his mission here or part in this life here. So he has a complete awareness of yourself, of the soul's energy. He has a complete awareness of it. Those are different thinking people. They are like spiritual masters. They can yeah, but that's just the body. That's just but one thing is when you say and confirm it's just the body, but another is that you truly understand it, you truly see it, like you truly are that soul. But it's a completely different story. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I will not like to classify it as much, but I want to just tell what the beings told, right? So this is the first part. The second part is a person that doesn't have this connection. He's mainly categorizing himself from the mind and living from the soul's perspective. I mean, like the body's perspective, without the soul's perspective. But at one point, he would want, or can have, or starts meditating and praying or wishing for connection with different dimensions, like different realities, you would call that. And then this energy quality can be enhanced, and in a way he develops a link through different dimensions and realities. Meaning, what's the difference? The difference is you can have a connection and read energies only from this planet Earth. It's completely allowed when understood. It's you would say it's careless, meaning that it's everybody is allowed to do it from a sense of spiritual practice, because everything of that already exists on your planet. You can do whatever you want with it. But having an interdimensional connection, like with different beings from different dimensions, would be, for example, beings from like paradise, beings from spirit guides, beings from, so it's completely different, because it translates a higher understanding information that can be and is in a completely different value, but that spirit medium who has this interplanetary connection is a completely different human, speaks differently, understands differently, values life differently. I mean, like differently, like you can only sense him that he is completely like full of heartness, full of understanding, full of wisdom. It's like those are values that you can just sense and feel in his presence. So yeah, that's a different category. So the second is when you, through praying, meditation, or wishing, or asking, or and meditation, you can receive this connection as well. Like you are asking for change in your current life experience, and thus you can have these changes if you truly wish to. So, and the third was through exposure to different substances, like magic mushrooms, maybe smoking some weed, and other types which I don't know. I've never used any weed or any mushrooms. I don't know. I've actually never seen people using it, so I don't know the effect and anything. But what I understood from the cause is that a person can have like energy enhancement substances, which could be enhancing his energy field, which means that he has an expanded energy field, which means he can sense multiple energies from all around, which means that you can go in the forest and you can feel, wow, the tree is looking at me, or you can feel, wow, I sense that other person, he's thinking this and that. Wow, I feel you, that you have like a really lot of doubts or fears or anger in you. Like he has an energy, extended energy from these substances. And the thing is that this also doesn't create an interdimensional connection. It's not an connection, but through these experiences or these enhancements, the person can have like a shocking, spontaneous connection that can lead to a thing which would be called an unprepared awakening, which is psychical stability issues, which can lead to, for example, he can have maybe like life traumas, like I don't know, maybe he's been to possession in his life, and maybe through many tough fears, he was maybe frightened many times of religious fears or something else, doesn't matter. And all those things can be, because it can lead to a spontaneous self-realization where you understand that all you have right now, just nonsense. It's just pointless. Life is completely different what I have knew so far. And it's like a complete change in personality. It's like a complete change of your beingness. And all that, all the news or information will just die out in a very unpleasant way. I mean, like maybe some people who observe these people having those issues would see that he is having like a psychical illness or psychical instability, and it can be harming to some people. So continuing, then there was questions and questions and questions. But as far as I remember, they started also these mediums giving some stories about a hypnotist, and they said, well, a hypnotist, basically his job is like a half hour before his patient arrives, have sit down in a complete nothingness state, like completely relax his mind, because when it's not about you doing something, hypnotist doing something. It's about him being in completely nothingness state. And when the client comes, just ask him to sit down and reads the person just by looking at him. How his eyes move, how his hands shake, how he's nervous, how he's maybe fearful or stressful, and make him calm down until all those energy activities in him vanish. And then what happens is he becomes in a state of that stress or energy of the patient. Maybe he has a fearful question or situation life, he's stressed and feared, and this energy stops, and then the hypnotist just allows him to be in this nothingness state and just ask a couple of questions, and that energy will itself start releasing and releasing and releasing until the person says, well, I don't know, what was I stressful about? It all makes perfect sense right now. He says, okay, like what your therapy is finished. Like the energy himself in the patient has to be the hypnotist 1.5 hour before meeting the client calms his mind down, becomes in a no thought state, in like a zero state, like empty state, like a clean page. The patient comes in, and because the hypnotist himself is a clean page, he will see all those stresses and activities in the hypnotist, in the patient, and he will just observe and make him calm down, completely calm down. And when he's calmed down, he will see that his eyes stop moving so intensely, his hands stop shaking so intensely, his dynamics have turned off. And his task is now to keep him in the no-dynamic state and just talk with him, ask him questions and talk him, because that energy which was in the patient will start releasing by itself. And that was an interesting point of view, because in a way, hypnotist doesn't do anything. In fact, he professionally doesn't do anything. So there was this next state where is a hypnotherapist, second client's type, which is the spiritual client who's looking for spiritual questions. And the Enrico told now he comes with millions of questions. What is my previous life? What did I do there? What is the higher beings? What are higher beings doing there? He has like existing questions, lots of existence questions, like many existential questions. So at that point, he just helps him to guide through the patient through his path. And he said, Enrico said, this path will be a very long path. It will be because the energy will not release so fastly. He will want to go to heaven, then he will want to talk with his dead sister, dead cat, dead dog, dead uncle. He will want to understand the source, the primer source, what is God, what is not God. He will be going through many informational fields. Maybe 2 hours, maybe only 3 hours, and the hypnotist will tell, okay, this is enough for the day, this is enough for the day. Yeah, but one final question. So the thing is, what the Enrico ended this story was that, and he will eventually, in his experience, return to a conclusion that you are just now and here, and your job is to fully enjoy the magnificence of this now, this here, and this life, what the life offers you, because it's the highest, your peak of the highest experience that you are having right now and you have ever had. So yeah, that was an interesting perspective. And then he told, and there is the third category of hypnotherapists, and there the therapist has to be a certified therapist, and there is a like quote unquote certified therapist. And he said like, well, who could certify such a thing? But anyways, is when in this interaction between hypnotherapist, there are two people involved. I mean, like more than two involved, which means that there could be the therapist, there could be the patient, and there could be a relative or a dead person there. Coming through that person, like a channeling switch, like body switch, you would say. And the hypnotherapist has to be fully aware and understand that it's completely possible that a different soul can come through this body. And he said even from a different, completely different lifespan, like maybe 200 years ago, and that person will sit up and will tell, hey, what am I doing here? You kidnapped me. He said, no, we did not kidnap you, sit down. From where are you, who you are. And this hypnotherapist has to be skilled enough to understand that, to have experience with that, and know how to deal with that. So it has to be like a spiritual understanding hypnotherapist. So and I understand this is a skill that has to be developed, especially the hypnotherapy has to be a special skill and technique and methods. When the truth is come and all the joy within you. I have this song many times in my head. Don't you? Okay. So yeah, that was like an expansion back to the idea human mediums. And then there were questions, and then leading to, let's say, a chi energy healer. Do they have a connection with other dimensions, or they don't? And he said, well, mostly they don't, but it's not because it's because also that you can do energy healing without having a higher dimension connection, because you can enhance your energy field and become sensible to energies, which is completely allowed in your world to do that, and everybody can do it. It's not forbidden, like a soul's limitation. Don't do this. It's completely allowed. Like a soul's forbidden to do something, have an interdimensional connection, which could be forbidden, or it has to be a specific task or reason to have it, because it can change your experience completely. It change who you are completely. So, but in this case, it's completely allowed. What happens is, energy field can be enhanced by having a meditation experience, being lots and lots in nature, and doing meditation in nature, like enhancing this chi energy. It can be also achieved by substances, like which we talked about earlier. But the thing is that all that will be still in energy frequency of that therapist, like the chi healer. So the chi healer will have its own energy frequency that he deals with you. But there was a thing, like this chi healer can be highly advanced of sensing and moving energies, and you will definitely feel that experience. But there is another issue. That therapist could be starting to develop his skill better and better because he truly wished to become a better healer. Then what will happen, he will start to understand and develop. To increase his chi abilities, he needs to meditate or do special practices at home. Whatever the practice, this will be what he has to be better, will increase the skill. So at one point he will understand that he has to have a no-thought state to perform this better. He has to have like a breathing technique to make this better. He has to have like a clean mind to make it better, this healing process. And then he will start sensing something he has not sensed before. For example, he will sense that, hey, you have a high, let's say, energy blockage in your body, for example. And we can do something, but the idea was that when he feel that something new energy blockage, he will become asking himself question, what is it? I never felt this before. What is it? What is causing this energy blockage? And just by this question and by enhanced energy, not that state, he opens opportunity to receive the informational energy for this answer he had. And it can open him spontaneously the insight which we call like third eye, which will put the person down sitting and, man, I see something. I see visions. I see maybe some moments in your life. I see maybe your childhood's moments. I see something which is really blocking me out, and I want to just sit down and what's happening, what's going on. So what happens is that therapist can have like a spontaneous, let's say, third eye opening, which lead him to become a more detailed energy reader planet's surface, from maybe his dead cats relatives, and etc. and etc. He can read this information which is already present here, and he become really good at it. But in a way, he can still, maybe he still doesn't, and he still could not have the interdimensional connection. That's a completely different story. When an interdimensional dimensional connection happens, it's like the previous what I told. It's like the personality can truly, completely change to a different one. Ego change, life understanding change, perspective of life change. But this skilled therapist could be also a skilled reader, skilled informational reader, but without the higher connection. The higher connection. So, and for me that was interesting. It was like, okay, it like put things into perspective and simplify things, understand simplified things. It was for me it was like, okay, that's a good point. And he said another thing. He said I could, not I could, but you could, like, and he was doing this on me, can enhance your energy field just by breathing. And he was doing a technique. So what I saw, and this was a really interesting perspective. What I saw is that our molecules and body cells, which we have, consists of a lot of energy. Like, I mean, like, highly a lot of energy. Tremendously a lot of energy. Like, maybe one cell consists like a whole nuclear power plant. And this is like the energy for the cells to do and live and move. I don't know how does it work, but that's what I saw. So, and what happens is when we breathe in and breathe out, we cause the energy a small shock that releases a very, very small amount of energy that in a way gives us the life ability. So normally somehow the energy moves through us and causes like a energy through breathing, like a energy circuit, closed circuit, which causes like a I don't know how we call it in English, but when you put plus and minus together, they create like sparks. So with breathing you can do that. He did that, and it's a really strange feeling. So you first accumulate energy from below. The cells start vibrating, and they want to release tremendous amounts of energy, and you take energy from above. And he didn't do that because I already started feeling strange, and it could then release a tremendous amount of energy, like energy shockwave, like electricity. We call it like electricity. And what I felt is that you could actually really create this electricity from your hand, shocks, like electric shock. And the second was like just being with harvesting the chi from energies around us. Like that's a little bit different. Sorry. Yeah, but that was really interesting. Like it means for me, it put a completely different point of view for life as such as we are. That maybe our energy, what we have living here, is generated by a procedure. For example, let's say chi energy manipulations that cause a shock to release energies from cell. Let's say we eat many things, and then those things convert in our body cell, and then this energy, chi, some kind of breathing technique, what our body does, creates a closed circuit for our cells, like increases the cell vibration for them to release a shock wave, like an impulse of small energy spark. I think I have a radiation preview, let's say. I don't know how it happens, but a radiation happens when there is some kind of a molecular or atom disbalance. So the atom vibrates, and to balance himself out, he releases something like an energy wave. And then for a moment he is balanced, and then again disbalance, and release the energy again. So this could be something really similar, like we breathe in, we take some energy that causes our cells to become disbalanced, and they release energy in our cells, for example. I don't know how you can call it, how does this work, but anyway. So, and to me, what I saw is that these cells have more energy than our entire nuclear power plant here. Like one cell, one nuclear power plant. That's how much energy it can potentially have. And our body somehow manipulates the energy around him to release energy from the cell. So really interesting, and then again strange, but again scientific maybe also. Who knows how does this work, right? But it puts from a point of view, from different perspective. And then again, I'm driving back home right now, and I'm thinking to myself, I somehow from this channeling information, which really changed my life, which was the how was it called, the duality and balance of life, like the theory of karma and duality, which that everything will be and is always in the perfect balance in life. This made me think that there is no point of having thoughts, on making and thinking and having like a concept. There's no point at all. All those things will vanish, and it's like a complete waste of time. And now I'm thinking, yeah, okay, it's information, it's interesting, but it's just make this video to forget, just to forget. I will go back home, I will wake up, I will say, okay, that image from the cells was interesting, and the other, yeah, who cares? I will just take something for myself, and that's all. Anyways, you can write also comments. I don't know if comments work here right now at this moment, but anyways, if you want, you can ask some questions in the comments. Yeah, so I was every second week I decided to do channeling evenings in Latvia, and everybody who's in Latvia can join them every Thursday at 8:30 in Moscow Street next to Dole. Maybe it'll be a channeling evening, maybe it'll be a meditation evening, who knows, but I decided to do it for myself because I want to have like an evening of like the spiritual practices, evening of clear memory, clear mental state. And from these channelings, when I go back home, I'm like, I feel much better than I felt before the channeling. Because I know I have a lot of work, especially with the Art of Peace Village building, or preparing for it to be built. So we are like accumulating our workshop to have capabilities to produce small houses, and it involves lots of investments. So at that point, when we will have let's say a small already factory, which would be already this autumn, then we will start building houses and also the villages for these peace villages. But it's houses, and this is really highly expensive stuff. Not all could afford. So basically, what it means is we need to have some kind of a system set up. So yeah, so those villages can be self-sustainable. But we'll get to this. We'll get to that. And the interesting question would be, do I have an interdimensional connection, which was my own question at that point, after the channeling, straight after the channeling. Do I have like an ability to read informational energy from surroundings? I would say sometimes yes, but I have no interest in it. I have like completely no interest. It would be like I see your dead relative Igor, for example. He died because of too much alcohol. Like, okay, no, that's an experience. For me, most interesting is, I think, especially the Rico part. Because at the end of every channeling, they have like a wish. for everybody that sits there, like, hello and thank you for this evening, we wish you, and they put some wish to it. For example, this evening they put a wish that very much thank you for experience, blah blah blah, for your time, for your questions, blah blah blah. We have a highest excitement and joy always interacting with you and having these insights with your life, from your life, or reality. It's like a blessing for us in a way. And then they always like say a goodbye wish to everybody and like to the audience. And he told that I wish you that although many of you could have this ability to read information, many of you could have this ability and are having this ability that spontaneous information comes and they read this information spontaneously, and they can become overwhelming this information and give this information overwhelmingly. That could be a controlled or uncontrolled information that comes to you. Because if you, for example, read a person, you may have starting spontaneous information about that person, like his cats, his dogs, his neighbors, his relationship with his parents, and many of that information could be outdated or unnecessary anymore. So there is no point of actually sharing that information to him. But because it's so spontaneous to you that it can become like you start sharing and cannot stop anymore. So when he said, we wish you all to look through your eyes to this world and into this world through eyes of clarity and presence. Look to this world through eyes of love and presence and now state. And all you may be going in your street and looking through the eyes of present state. Have a break, have a pause in your thoughts, in your information, because that information is coming into chunks. And if you keep this presence pause, it will merge together this information, and you'll put out only few words to a person, maybe who's sitting next to you or in front of you, that can be highly understood and highly complete for him. Like, you just need to love yourself more, or you need to just forgive, for example, to your father, which could be like that. He has a cat, he has arguments with his boyfriend, he has this, he has that. But those are just chunks of information. Just keep pause. The information will come, merge together, and put you in one spontaneous word. Maybe you just need to forgive your father, and that's it. And it can be just breaking, full of tears and etc. But they said that wise spiritual men have said before your life, look in this world with the eyes of truth. In Latvia it sounds different, it sounds more precise. Look into the eyes of justice. It sounds like juridic with law enforcement, attorney stuff a bunch of stuff like that. But look into the eyes of truth. And they changed this sentence to look through your eyes into the truth. Like, look into your life, truly look into your life. It means like really looking at all what you see right now. I don't know, the telephone, the camera, or the screen, or whatever, and maybe your background, or wherever you are, from which country you're looking, and just look at it with as a complete truth. Like, be true. Don't think, don't have any thoughts, just look at it is as it is, the complete truth. Yeah, that was an interesting point of view, because I was like, very well said actually. I like this idea. And yeah, so, and then always they, at the end of the channelings, they always say some kind of wish to everybody. So yeah, so that was my quick review of this channeling Hypnotist, Terapist, and people with connection. Do I have a interdimensional connection? I don't know. Have I had a crazy ride? Have I been meditating and asking for it? Yes, I have. That I know for sure. But I think there are more and more advanced people that can do things that we would be really amazed and really like, wow, he really read this information really perfectly, or she really is good at it. She can see the people who have died really freely. But the more than question, which is I think none of us could answer this question: are you being truly yourself, no matter what skills and talents you have? Because you can be a good psyche reader or have a highest connections with all that is, but still you could have like a miserable sense of life. You can still have like a unfulfilled life in you. So are you truly yourself and that who you are? Or maybe this skill is just pointing you and giving you a more and more feeling of miserability, of sadness, or maybe guilt or something, who knows, like depression. So is it you are the one who is of value to yourself and to your experience? Are you really living your life how you truly would want to? Or you're just having an egoistic point of view that you think you are somehow special? And of course you are special, everybody is so special, but are you truly happy? That's the question. So, and what I like about these Enricos is that they give our life, and especially to me, like a completely different approach and gifts of joy. Like sometimes they tell jokes, sometimes they start laughing, enjoying, which enlightens, especially me and maybe our audience who are listening. It gives like them like when they really become Enricos and start sharing their energy, it's just laughter and joy constantly. And everybody feels that, but they feel it like not from what he's saying, but from the energy that's shining. That's I think that's really the beneficial thing, is to have and sense those higher energies. I think that's a really beneficial state. But anyways, yeah, those are our concepts, and the more I understand, the less we need concepts. I mean, like, we don't need concepts. We need just to be here and allow the magnificence of life to happen. We don't. For what reason will your life be more successful if you knew that truly our energy cells have like a tremendous amount of energy? Like how could this benefit? Like the earth is flat or round. Like how is this benefiting you? Are you, for example, fulfilling your daily life? Are you, for example, we can be thinking about the shape of the form of this planet, but is it really making any difference, or is it just wasting our time? Although we could be cleaning our yard and helping our grandmother or some elder to pass the street. Like, is this in any way concepts and theories helping you? So of course it's nice to have a different perspective on things. Yeah, and they said the top, medium, main goal is to put the client or the person who is asking for help in a situation where he receives answers himself. Like, it can be related with talking something understandable, or talking something completely around the topic he is asking, but put him in an energy state where he starts feeling something like, oh, okay, I'm asking a question, but I start myself getting answers, and or excitement or joy, and go back home in a completely different energy sensation. So it will be the main goal is to allow the person who is coming for help to get answers through the process himself. They can happen by blowing candles, looking into crystal balls, talking something that the client does not completely understand. but all this process, maybe with trance, maybe with some songs, maybe with something, put him in a state where he still asks this question to himself, but wait, but I start to understand it's because of that, it's because of this. And it changes the person's energy, and it changes the person's approach, and he can change his situation in your lives by himself, just by changing his own energy himself. So in a way, medium will create energy environment where he can ask this question to you, to somebody else, I don't know who's the therapist, but because of this energy field around him, those answers will come to himself, and he will get all the answers he needs to change the situation. And believe me, many people of us are so thinking with mind, like completely. You don't, and me, I sometimes only really understand everything I knew, everything how I perceived my life is limited because somebody told me, or I read it somewhere. A clean vision of life. We don't have like a clean perspective of life. We are like programmed ourselves, or somebody has programmed us to even have thoughts about the flat earth or round earth, what doesn't matter, or religious perspectives. It can be, I don't blame it. I don't think it's not to blame anyone. It's just we have so many concepts already about all those things which we experience in our life, and we are never free. And oh, dog, well, it scared me. There was a dog on the street. So we are never free, and we will never live this life as magnificent as it is, trusting life, while we are having so many concepts in our head. And for example, if I will take one of my friends and I will maybe start driving faster and faster and faster, he will fasten his seatbelt, for example. Okay, so we all know. But imagine you in a neutral state. If you are completely neutral, why would you react in any way to this situation? Why would you have a reaction to this situation? It's because somebody told you, you heard somebody that we could die, and fasten seatbelt is the only way to survive this. So we already react to life through these perspectives that we have read. And if we have so much of these things that we even try to drive a straight line on a specific side on the road, we will never be free, because we ourselves are limiting ourselves to be free. So it's just like a simple comparison that you can apply to anything. Wash hands before dinner, watch television at 9, remember to say goodbye, remember to do this, remember to do that, don't do this. We have like tons of things in our life that we have taught, and yet it limits us. So how could we enjoy life and be free what we actually are if there are so much limitations we perceive, especially limitation like I don't want to spend money because I'm afraid to have no money. It's also a limitation. You cannot allow yourself to act freely and become more abundant because you already have limitations in yourself. So the mind truly and highly affects our daily life, like disallowing ourselves to be who we are and be free. So the moment you start allowing yourself to be who you actually are, you really start living and becoming the magnificence in this life of really becoming magnificent in this life. Anyways, it's okay that I have something to drink right now, because usually I never drink when I drive, like soda or what is it, cola. But it somehow my drive helps helps me put more moisture in my mouth, and yeah, it makes actually never did this, I think, in other videos. So anyways, these Enrico channelings, they help me to become more freer in a way, more trusting life in a way, more I am. Although maybe I'm just a little of I am, but becoming more, a little more, a little more, a little more, to understand that somewhere up there is this Allah being, or some kind of Allah. We call it Allah because we don't know what it is. That hears you, sees you, and he just asks you, what do you wish? What do you want? And you say, I want a little bit this, a little bit that one. He says, like, no problem. But the only way is allow yourself to be free. And when you allow yourself to be more free, it will create opportunity for those things to come to your life. So by wishing, you create opportunities, and by not limiting yourself, you allow those opportunities to come to you. So what it means is, the more freer you are, the more intuitive you are. The more intuitive you are, the more and more you become in a better connection or conversation with this spirit being up there who just asks you, what do you wish? I will give you, just ask. I said, I want that. He's like, no problem. Do this. But no, I will not do this because of my degree, education degree. I'm not allowed to do this. But he says, I'm not asking you, are you allowed or not allowed to do this? I said, I'm giving you offer, do this. And you are the one who disagrees. Well, maybe let's see, maybe we have different opportunities later. Let's just see. But you're not even allowing yourself to listen to these opportunities, because you're looking outside a completely different window and hearing, not allowing yourself to. Anyway, most of this stuff we already know. So anyways, see you guys there on the next video. Bye.